Most gardeners discard valuable plant nutrients every single day without even realizing it. Fruit skins, vegetable trimmings, coffee grounds, weeds, and various kitchen leftovers frequently end up in the garbage, despite the fact that they can be converted into potent fertilizers and soil enhancers for free. In this presentation, I will demonstrate 4 straightforward techniques to turn common kitchen waste into something your plants will absolutely thrive on. These strategies are simple to implement, cost virtually nothing, and assist in recycling waste while nourishing your garden through natural means. We will examine a homemade liquid fertilizer, 2 distinct underground composting setups, and a basic worm feeding arrangement that delivers vital nutrients exactly where plant roots require them most. Each approach functions slightly differently, allowing you to select the one that best suits your specific garden layout and the materials you currently have on hand. A simple homemade liquid fertilizer can be created from kitchen scraps and garden debris. Rather than discarding fruit peels, vegetable trimmings, and weeds, you can submerge them in water to produce a nutrient-dense fertilizer that supports robust plant development. It requires some patience, but the end result is a natural plant food usable throughout the entire growing season. One of the most accessible ways to repurpose kitchen and garden waste is by crafting your own liquid fertilizer. Instead of throwing away fruit skins, vegetable scraps, and garden weeds, you can convert them into a nutrient-rich feed that costs almost nothing. Different components contribute various nutrients to the blend. Banana peels are famous for providing potassium, which aids in flowering and fruit set. Vegetable scraps contribute a range of minerals, while many common weeds contain nutrients and trace elements they have extracted from deep within the earth. When these materials are soaked together, they form a balanced liquid fertilizer suitable for vegetables, fruit trees, flowers, and even indoor plants. To begin, start gathering kitchen scraps in a small bin. Fruit peels, vegetable trimmings, carrot tops, cabbage leaves, and similar items all function well. Slightly overripe fruit is generally acceptable as well. In the garden, collect fresh weeds before they go to seed. Grass clippings can also be included. Once you have gathered sufficient material, chop everything into small fragments. This step requires a bit of extra effort, but it significantly accelerates the process. Smaller pieces decompose more readily and allow the water to extract nutrients more effectively. Next, place all the chopped material into a piece of breathable fabric. An old pillowcase, burlap bag, or any durable porous cloth works perfectly. Gather the corners and tie them tightly to form a large pouch. View it as a massive tea bag. This keeps the solids contained and makes the fertilizer much easier to manage later. Now prepare a bucket or plastic drum and fill it with water. Rainwater is the best choice, but if you are using tap water, let it sit uncovered for roughly a day before use. Place the filled pouch into the water. Since the plant material might float, use a brick or a large stone to keep it completely submerged. Keeping everything below the waterline ensures the materials break down correctly. Cover the container with a lid, a wooden board, or a similar cover to exclude insects and minimize evaporation. The mixture will require about 3 to 4 weeks to mature. During this period, try to agitate the pouch or lift and dunk it once per day. This helps circulate the water and promotes an even breakdown of the materials. As time passes, the water will gradually darken. Depending on the specific ingredients used, the color may vary from deep brown to a reddish purple. By the conclusion of the process, you will have a dark concentrate with a potent odor. That smell is entirely normal, but the liquid is far too concentrated to use directly on plants. Always dilute it before application. A reliable guideline is to mix 1 part fertilizer with 10 parts water. After dilution, the liquid should resemble weak tea. This creates a safe and efficient feed that plants can absorb easily without risking root damage. Apply the diluted fertilizer around the base of your plants every 10 days during the growing season. Over time, you may observe greener foliage, stronger growth, and improved harvests. The best part is that the pouch can often be reused for a subsequent batch. Simply refill the bucket with water and let it steep again. When the material inside has fully decomposed, add it to your compost pile and start over with fresh scraps. It is a straightforward way to recycle waste and return those nutrients directly to your garden. A clever underground worm feeder turns kitchen scraps into plant nourishment right beneath the soil surface. This system draws in earthworms, promotes beneficial soil life, and slowly provides nutrients directly to nearby roots. Once set up, it requires very little maintenance and makes excellent use of daily kitchen waste. If you are searching for an easy method to recycle kitchen scraps while enhancing the soil in your garden, this underground worm feeder is worth implementing. It operates quietly below the surface, converting food scraps into nutrients exactly where your plants need them most. Simultaneously, it attracts earthworms, encourages healthy soil biology, and helps produce rich, fertile soil around the root zone. The best part is that once it is installed, there is very minimal work involved. Instead of tossing fruit and vegetable scraps into the trash, you can feed them to the worms and let nature handle the rest. To construct this system, you will need a few basic materials. An old section of pipe works perfectly, making this a great chance to reuse leftover materials from previous tasks. For this specific design, you will need two longer pipe sections and one T-shaped connector. You will also need a short piece of pipe that will remain above ground to serve as the feeding tube. Start by creating holes throughout both long pipe sections. A drill is effective for this task, but any appropriate tool can be utilized. The holes should be large enough for earthworms to pass through comfortably, but not so large that soil fills the pipes easily. Try to space the holes evenly along the entire length. Once the holes are drilled, connect the two long pipes to the sides of the T-joint. This creates a straight underground tunnel with an opening in the middle. Attach the short pipe section to the top of the T-joint. This vertical part will stay above the soil surface and allow you to add food whenever it is needed. Now it is time to install the system. Pick a spot near vegetables, flowers, or any plants that would benefit from a consistent supply of nutrients. Dig a trench or hole large enough to accommodate the pipe assembly. Position the long perforated pipes underground where plant roots are likely to develop. Leave only the top feeding tube protruding above the soil. Once everything is positioned correctly, backfill the soil around the pipes and gently firm it into place. The structure should feel stable and secure. Next comes the food for your underground assistance. Collect kitchen scraps such as fruit peels, vegetable trimmings, and other plant-based leftovers. Chopping them into smaller bits is a good idea because they decompose faster and are easier for worms and microbes to process. Drop the chopped scraps down through the feeding tube. If the material becomes stuck near the center, use a stick to gently push it further into the side pipes. This helps distribute the food throughout the system instead of leaving it bunched in one spot. To give decomposition a head start, add a few handfuls of finished compost or worm castings into the tube. This introduces beneficial microbes that start breaking down the scraps immediately. It also helps create an environment that worms are naturally drawn to. Finish by pouring a small amount of water down the feeding tube. Moisture is vital because worms require damp conditions to remain active. The water also softens the food scraps and helps decomposition get started more quickly. Before long, earthworms will find their way to the food through the holes in the pipes. As they feed, they leave behind nutrient-rich castings that enhance the surrounding soil. Over time, nearby plants benefit from a steady supply of natural nutrients, healthier soil, and improved root growth. It is a simple system, but it can make a significant difference in the garden while putting kitchen waste to productive use. Another easy composting system utilizes a vertical PVC pipe. This method creates a small underground composting station that continually nourishes the surrounding soil while helping kitchen scraps decompose naturally. If you are looking for a simple way to recycle kitchen scraps while improving your garden soil, this PVC pipe composting method is definitely worth a try. It occupies very little space, costs almost nothing to construct, and provides a consistent supply of nutrients to nearby plants. Once installed, it works quietly underground, turning everyday kitchen waste into valuable plant food. To get started, find an old PVC pipe. The length is not critical, so use whatever fits your garden bed or container. The first task is to make holes all around the pipe. You can use a soldering iron, a drill, or any suitable tool. The holes should be large enough for earthworms to move through easily, but not so large that soil quickly fills the pipe. Try to distribute the holes evenly from top to bottom. These openings allow air, moisture, worms, and beneficial soil organisms to reach the material inside. Once the pipe is prepared, dig a hole deep enough to bury most of it. This method works equally well in raised beds, traditional garden beds, or even large containers. Leave only about 3 to 4 inches of the pipe sticking above the soil surface. That small exposed section will make it easy to add kitchen scraps whenever necessary. Place the pipe into the hole and refill the soil around it. Press the soil gently so the pipe stands upright and does not move. Once it is secure, you are ready to start filling it. Now collect your kitchen scraps. Vegetable peels, fruit skins, tea leaves, coffee grounds, and other plant-based kitchen waste are all excellent choices. Before adding them, chop them into smaller pieces if possible. Smaller pieces break down faster and are less likely to attract pests or create unpleasant odors. Slowly add the chopped scraps into the pipe. As the material settles, continue filling until the pipe is reasonably full. There is no need to pack everything tightly. Leaving a little space helps air circulate and supports healthy decomposition. After adding the kitchen waste, sprinkle a handful of compost or vermicompost on top. This step helps introduce beneficial microbes that begin breaking down the organic material. If you have worm castings available, even better. They contain active microbial life and can help speed up the process. Regular finished compost works perfectly well too. Next, cover the top of the pipe. You can use a simple lid, a layer of mulch, or one of my favorite options, an upside-down terracotta pot. If you use a terracotta pot, make sure it has a drainage hole. That small hole allows rainwater and irrigation water to enter slowly over time. Whenever you water your garden or after a rainfall, moisture moves down through the pipe and passes through the decomposing kitchen scraps. As it does, it carries nutrients with it. This nutrient-rich liquid gradually seeps out through the holes and into the surrounding soil, where nearby plant roots can access it. At the same time, earthworms and other beneficial soil creatures are attracted to the food source. They enter through the holes, feed on the decomposing material, and help turn it into rich organic matter. Over time, the pipe becomes a small underground composting station that continuously improves the soil around it. You can keep feeding the system every few days by adding fresh kitchen scraps. Just avoid filling it too quickly. If the contents seem overly wet, add a little dry material or a small amount of compost to help maintain balance. After a few months, you will likely notice healthier plants, greener growth, and soil that feels softer and holds moisture better. It is a simple setup, but it is a great way to turn the household waste into something useful while giving your garden a steady source of natural nutrients. The final method combines composting and planting in one simple setup. By placing a buried compost container right beside your vegetables, you create a steady source of nutrients that keeps feeding your plants throughout the season. If you want an easy way to grow healthier vegetables while putting kitchen scraps to good use, this buried composting system is a great option. It works like a feeding station built right into your garden bed. As food scraps break down inside the container, nutrients slowly move into the surrounding soil, giving nearby plants a steady source of nourishment throughout the season. To make this system, start with 2 plastic containers. Join them together to create one tall vertical structure, leaving both ends open. Keeping the ends open allows air to circulate and helps the materials inside break down properly. Good airflow is important because it encourages healthy decomposition and helps nutrients move gradually into the soil. Next, take the bottom container and make plenty of holes around the sides and base. These holes are what make the system work. They allow moisture, earthworms, and beneficial soil organisms to move in and out freely. As a result, the organic material breaks down faster and becomes available to nearby plant roots. Once the container is ready, choose a suitable location in your garden. A sunny spot is ideal, especially if you are growing crops like tomatoes, peppers, chilies, or eggplants. Dig a hole large enough to bury most of the structure. When placed in the ground, the perforated bottom section should be completely surrounded by soil, while the upper opening remains above the surface for easy access. Place the structure into the hole and make sure it stands upright. Refill the soil around it and gently firm everything in place. The lower section should be in direct contact with the surrounding soil, so that roots can easily grow toward it as nutrients become available. Now it is time to plant around the composting station. In this example, peppers are planted around the container, but many vegetables work well with this setup. Arrange the seedlings with enough space between them for proper growth. You can also sow seeds directly around the structure if you prefer. As the plants develop, Their roots will naturally spread toward the nutrient-rich area surrounding the container. After planting, begin filling the composting chamber. Add kitchen scraps, such as fruit peels, vegetable trimmings, eggshells, and small amounts of garden waste, like dry leaves or soft plant cuttings. Chopping everything into smaller pieces helps speed up decomposition and makes the nutrients available sooner. To help the process get started, add a layer of finished compost on top of the fresh scraps. Compost contains beneficial microbes that quickly begin breaking down the organic material. Think of it as adding a starter culture that helps everything work more efficiently from the beginning. Once you have added the compost, water the system thoroughly. Moisture is essential because it activates microbial activity and helps the decomposition process begin. Water the surrounding plants as well so that the entire area remains evenly moist. Over the following weeks, the material inside the container gradually breaks down. Nutrients move through the holes and into the surrounding soil where plant roots can absorb them. Unlike traditional fertilizing methods that require repeated applications, this system provides a slow and steady supply of plant food over a long period. Another benefit is that earthworms are naturally attracted to the moist, nutrient-rich environment. As they move through the soil, they help break down organic matter and improve soil structure. The soil becomes looser, richer, and better at holding moisture. Keep adding kitchen scraps whenever you have them available. If the mixture looks too wet, add some dry leaves, shredded paper, or other dry materials. If it becomes too dry, simply add water. With regular use, this buried composting system becomes the heart of your garden bed. It recycles household waste, improves soil quality, and provides a continuous source of nutrients that helps vegetables grow stronger, healthier, and more productive throughout the season. If these methods change the way you look at the waste in your kitchen, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the natural secrets that help gardens thrive. Let's cultivate a greener future together. The next garden treasure will be revealed soon.